GM, give it just a second. I got the old one of my phones is dead, the one I never use issue that I am waiting for its revival before I can get on from the Clio account. But good to have you back, Rooster. Missed you last week, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing well, man. Yeah, I forgot what day it was last week, and I was apartment shopping, doing some tours and stuff. So
Nice. You find anything?
yeah, we found a couple spots. Now just weighing pros and cons. Because right, you look online somewhere, and like no one ever leaves a glowing review for any place you look at. Like if someone's gonna leave a comment, and they're just gonna be complaining about it. So. Just the joys of finding somewhere to live.
100%. Actually, dude, you know what I'm going to try out real quick? I'm going to see if I can get on using my desktop because I've had some glitches when I've tried it in the past. I don't know what it is. It's like when I'm on a desktop and I'm listening to a space, I can hear it. But you can request to speak now. But as soon as you request to speak, my audio cuts out. So I'm not sure why, but it might actually. I don't know. I'm gonna just give it a shot while I'm waiting for this other phone to pop up. No, back on the apartment thing, dude. The one thing I hate more than anything else, and why I have only done it twice, actually once in the last 10 years, is moving. I will do whatever I can to not have to move. I went back this last weekend to and that's why like last weekend was so impromptu, right? I was back home helping my family move. Dude, the family home has terrible service also. So I had to find a spot in a quiet room in a small crowded house to be able to get away and do it. I hosted it a little bit later in the afternoon. It was like I think I gave a 5 minute heads up. So, it wasn't any type of because typically you can check on Twitter and I'll host it. I don't have a set time each week, but it'll typically be between, now give or take half an hour, right? Like maybe give or take 1 hour. But if I'm starting it at 1:30 in like or 2:30 cent or 2:30 Eastern time, it's pretty late. So don't worry, man. Like yeah, I will give full blame on that one on me, and at the same time, you have my sympathies for the moving process.
Yeah, I mean, one of the spots we found was like pretty sick. Had heated bathroom floors and like a TV behind the bathroom mirror, which is pretty fucking cool. Um,
So are you still looking like in the Denver area, or are you more in the burbs? And when I say the burbs, I think everywhere around Denver is pretty cool.
yeah, looking on the west side, probably about 10, 15 out from the city. Want to be closer to the mountains for this season.
Yeah, that's what I mean by like Denver's maybe the one city where I think living in the burbs has almost more upside than living in the city itself.
Yeah, no, most of the attractions in and around here are not in the city, besides Casa Bonita, which has just reopened. I haven't gone to it yet, but that's probably the biggest city
Yes.
attraction.
Dude, I went to one of those when I was a kid, and I swear I was looking through the pictures whenever I saw the South Park owners ended up rebuying it and revamping it. And it just brought back so many memories because I loved going to it as a kid because of all the different themed rooms, everything else. Looking back on it, the food I think was probably incredibly mid, but at that point in time, it was incredible for me. As a kid, just about anything's going to be incredible. But realistically, it was just the atmosphere that drew me in.
So apparently, yeah, they hired like some world-renowned chef to redo the entire menu, and apparently it's actually pretty banging now. I haven't checked it out yet, though.
No way, man. That's I don't know. I might have to put it on my list when I go. I still haven't booked my flights for my Denver trip, but like I said, I'll be there at the end of the month through Labor Day stuff. So I don't know what's on the agenda yet, but I'm sure we'll go out at some point. We're going out celebrating my brother's birthday. That was just the weekend that everybody was free to do it. So I know that his wife has all these things already lined up on the menu, but at the same time, like there's got to be some type of social side to it as far as not just like, stopping by and doing X hike or whatever. I mean, I know I think there's a concert we're going to at Red Rocks. I forget which one. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be my, let's see, I've got a trip this next weekend. And then after that, I'll have the Denver one. And then from there, I think I'll have one weekend off before I go to Singapore.
Wow, that's got a busy upcoming month, but sounds pretty fucking fun to be honest. Yeah, just let me know when you come in. My girl's heading off to Ireland in a couple of days for the rest of the month, so yeah, I'll be
Oh,
pretty
really?
open. Yeah, she got
Okay.
family up there, so yeah, she's going for the rest of the month.
Love to hear it, man. So that means you are going to be a free man. Is that right?
Yeah, that means I can come home whenever.
Oh, do love to hear it. Um, okay, I'm gonna try right now to see if I can join from a desktop. We'll see how this works. If not, the other phone's alive now, so I'll be able to. But it's kind of, I still enjoy just having a tiny room like this too. Um, not to say that these spaces ever get massively crowded, but at the same, like, actually, Rooster, let's do a plus or minus bet. We've got what, 9 people in here right now. Whenever I join from the Kaleo account too and co-host, what do you think the final number will be? Let's just get a guess.
Final number by the end of the space.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, just we can say average and peak.
Okay, so I think after you join, it's gonna jump up to like 47 within
Okay.
about 5 minutes or so, and then peak we'll probably be looking at. I don't know. It depends. We might just drive Carol Baskins in here again, and then we'll have 250,000 people in the space.
You're right. You're right. If there's randomly somebody like Pentashi that randomly stops by and join, that's an X factor. I'm gonna go with average 41, peak. Ooh, no, that may be a little. I was gonna say peak 69. Yeah, let's just say peak 69. Let's manifest it. And I don't know because we're at such a weird place in the market where there's a lot that's happening right now, right? But at the same time, it's dead. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's like in the degenerate corner, there's a lot happening. Outside of the degenerate corner, it's dead. So, um,
Yeah, I chopped myself to bits the other day. I ended up just having to close my laptop and it stopped at like 4 p.m. I shorted the top and closed out like the local top for the day and closed out my trade way too early, and so got irritated, tried to revenge trade. Then I longed the bottom and then closed that out way too early and got even more irritated and ended up net negative. So I just turned everything off for the day. I was like, this, oh no.
oh man, that dude, I feel you. Yesterday, like I definitely chopped myself a little bit. And I really think that I was on a really, really hot streak. And I honestly think it's just because I broke my rules and pulled that all nighter. So, like, my head was just in a fog throughout the day. Your decision becomes impaired whenever you start thinking like that, right? Whenever you just can't think. And that's why sleep is so important for everything. You're not going to make good decisions unless you're well rested. So if you're in some type of position where you can't sleep because of it, the best thing to do is probably, just exit whatever it is, just call it and, respect, respect your rest.
Yeah, that's kind of what I ended up doing as well. Not so much an all nighter, but I opened the trade up in the morning, shorted what was the morning top, and then girlfriend was like, "Hey, do you want, you want to go get some breakfast? Do this, blah 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 blah." I looked at my trade; it was in the money. I was like, "Sure, I'll just close this out and come back to it later." Come back to it later. It would have been like 300% in the profit. So I was on like 25x, and I was like, "Oh, this is lovely."
Dude, quickly, you want to know what's crazy? So as far as this test goes, I'm definitely gonna have to go use the phone because um, I requested from my desktop, and on my desktop it says I'm a speaker there, and I am up on the stage, muted. But on here, I'm looking on the iPhone, the app, and it just shows me as a listener right now
Yeah, it
still,
shows me as a listener as well, or it shows you as the listener.
which that's kind of crazy. So I guess they added implementation for, and it's kind of sad too because I think that being able to have desktop functionality really will up the game as far as audio, quality, and other stuff like that is concerned. But it looks like they still just have some bugs to work out because it it's not working. Again, and the other thing that's crazy too, even though it says that I am a speaker on there, um, as soon as you get pulled up on quote unquote stage, even though it doesn't pull you up on stage, you can't hear anything. Actually, real quick, everyone be quiet. I'm going to try to talk from there and see if it works. No, it does not work.
Yeah, we're not getting. I was gonna say we're not getting
Okay,
nothing.
yeah, no, give me a second then on there. I mean, you don't. I'm still just let me rotate over, and we'll get this pulled up over here. Ellis, welcome back, man. How are you doing? Like the seal representation this week. I feel like the first time that I ever connected with you, you were rocking a seal.
Yeah, it was. I believe this is my seal. I'll die with this seal. Unless it goes up to like 10 ETH, then I'll definitely dump it on the motherfucker for sure. But that's probably not in the future.
Yeah, man. I actually bought a couple of Wob shares on that new app on the Friendtech thing, so I can't wait to dump those. I
I
think
just got I
I'm up
just got
like two
approved for
X.
that. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So yeah, no, I mean if you buy Wob shares, eventually I will dump on you. I'm just calling it how it is. um,
I like that. That's how it should be.
Cool. Did you see what the newest OPEPin edition was this
oh
morning?
yes, yes, dude, I need to opt in for that. I don't know if I can. I need to double check, but
I listed mine last night, just because I'm like scraping up some liquidity because
actually
I'm
no.
definitely.
But either way, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, it was yeah, it's pretty dope. I was gonna opt in too, but mine got swept about 5 seconds after he tweeted that. So yeah, I no longer hold any OPEPins, which is fine because I'm still planning on 100% gambling on the Panda Solana mint. They got like three one of ones and about 100 rare body styles out of 1,000. So about a 10% chance to pull a rare and potentially a one of one. And so yeah, I'm
Rooster,
definitely gambling on
what
that.
do you think what do you think is going to be like the price that's going to just like mint out? Because it's going to drop down. I don't think it's going to mint out immediately.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, it might.
so price is going to start probably close to 200 Sol, because it's starting over the whitelist pass plus the $400 mint. So whitelist pass is like 1.69 right now, and then they're adding the $400 USDC. So it's going to start there, and then resting price is going to be above current floor. So what they're not trying to do is have people just like wait and try and wait it out till it's below floor, and then the floor tanks for the project. I'm trying to avoid that, so resting price is probably going to be around 100, low hundreds, for the mint. So you are going to be paying
Nice.
over floor to be able to gamble to potentially pull a rare body style.
I think it's worth it. But I have to head out, boys. Y'all have a great day.
Yo, thanks for
Nice
bye,
chat.
Ellis. Appreciate it, man.
You as well, man. Have a good one.
Peace.
All right, making the conversion now. All right, GM.
GM, welcome in, Kaleo.
All right, we are on it now. Perfect. Yeah. Sorry for missing the first part of the space, guys. Glad my voice twin was here for me. The intern knows how to, there is a voice modifier that works perfectly for both my actual pitch and my mannerisms as well. So shout out to the intern that came up with that.
You said you wouldn't tell people we made an AI language model for LedgArt.
Yeah, it is something that we're holding on to that we're going to release later on. But yeah, there is this super advanced AI language model that we have come up with that's going to revolutionize not just the crypto landscape, but honestly the entire world.
What's funny is you probably don't know this, but you can actually go into the Discord and talk to the LedgArt bot.
I actually have. I've seen. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like, it's crazy the power of AI.
No, like I'm being like 100% serious right now. You can go into the Discord and talk to the bot.
I mean, what do you mean? Yeah, like of course you can. Hello? I'm so confused.
I didn't know if you know. I was having a conversation with the Wonky Stonks bot in Discord the other day. I should have screenshotted it. The language model agreed that stonks were inevitable and that they should be swept.
I agree too, man. Like both of those things. Okay, we just tweeted it out. So we are officially live right now with the tweet. We'll see. So I do have a question for you though, about the back to the pudgy, or not the pudgy, but the panda mint. So one of the things I'm a little bit confused about with it, and not to say that the team does not deserve this, right? But I'm a little bit confused on kind of the timeline for where it went from. I think that you could purchase a mint pass that basically reserved you the right to be able to mint back in the day from the team, right? And
no, so the way it worked was way back when they were still minting out, they ran this like kind of promotion called the Infinity Pandas. And so if you bought and owned one panda from each of the 7 chains at the time, the first 250 wallets to do that got an Infinity Panda, and also with that they got a final chain whitelist pass. So I mean, I guess you technically kind of bought it from the team, but it was given to you if you were one of the Infinity Pandas.
okay, so that was my question then. So it was given to you if you were one of the Infinity Pandas. The only thing that I ask about it is, and I feel like the team should probably go and update this since they changed it. It just was a little bit weird where it said on the mint pass. I think that Bags was tweeting out something about you can go out and potentially purchase one of these if you want a guaranteed opportunity to be able to enter in. And it said that it gave you the right to be able to purchase the new chain collection at $300, which was the original Panda Mint. And I am not going to sit here and say that the team does not deserve, something higher from a Dutch auction type of process. But it just was a little bit, I was curious if there was something else I was kind of missing in that timeline.
No, I mean, I think pretty much the thesis behind it was um, they're doing a lot more than they were doing back then. Spent a lot more money, brands a lot more, or is a lot larger. So, and they don't want to kind of potentially hurt the floor by, people, just instantly minting or get, if they did a raffle or whatever, right? Because if it was $400 mints, everybody and their mama would be trying to mint that out, trying to flip just for immediate floor price, right? Just for like a guaranteed, dub after a month of losing. So they kind of wanted that not to happen, and they do deserve the money. They built a lot of stuff, so I think that was the thought process behind it. They didn't. They're like, fuck it, yeah. If you want another panda right now, like you're gonna have to pay what pandas cost.
I actually, yeah, that point right there makes a ton of sense. I think that you're right, where it does help everybody in the collection by not just doing it incredibly, only because it's like, it's not a new collection, right? Because of the fact it's something that was everybody knew about from day one, that was going to be added to it. If you end up doing something where it's that cheap, it really does potentially incentivize somebody to just get it and immediately floor it, right? Like, if you've got a guaranteed 1 ETH profit or half an ETH profit or whatever it is from having the mint pass opportunity. We've seen what has happened before with that type of stuff. So, I mean, like, it puts it in the hands of the people that care about it the most.
Yeah, not only that too. I mean, you're probably looking at average. What I'm guesstimating is like average sale for the Dutch auction is probably going to be like 120 SOL. So it's immediately also going to put them at like the number one spot floor price wise on Solana. So that'll probably bring some attention as well. And then there's 3 1 of 1s on the Solana chain, which I think is more than any other chain, right? And the last 1 of 1 sold for 30 ETH. So that's a come up right there. Um, and then they got 16 aliens and like 30 something zombies and 40 something golds, which also for like 2 times the floor price. So even at 120 SOL, you still have like a 10% chance of doubling your money almost.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, adding the rarity and everything else in there still sounds like, there's solid upside for whoever does end up getting them minted out. So it's exciting stuff to see. I mean, and I think one of the coolest things about it though is it's just really, there's something really satisfying about seeing Bags finally see the full vision through as far as getting the collection out there after how many people doubted him and how long it took. Realistically, the only mint that I can think of that was that long and drawn out without doing something like just, lazily saying, oh, we're going to just burn the rest of the collection. um, because I always think that that's just such an easy cop out for people that just burn the rest of the collection whenever they do have a mint that doesn't immediately mint out, because it's like, you're telling me you have this art collection that's X size, and without even thinking twice, you just burn like 50% of it. What does it mean to you? Like, is the art not significant? At that point, you're telling me half the art was just trash enough that you don't care about putting it in there in the first place. So, like, that's really what that signifies to me a lot of the time, and maybe that's an unfair depiction of it. But point being, Bags is one of the only people that I know that actually followed through with that vision and delivered on it when he didn't get the immediate success.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with you. I mean, Bags was the entire reason I bought the pandas, and I've been with the pandas from the get. Anyways, my thesis has always been, betting on founders, and that Bags is definitely a person I would never bet against. It doesn't matter what the scenario is. Like, I definitely would never bet against Bags. So yeah, I'm happy to be supporting for the Solana Mint upcoming Tuesday. What I'm wondering though is if I should sell, like, liquidate my Genesis pandas or just completely go all in on gambling. I might, if I don't pull anything, I might, be a net loss, but shit, it might be worth it at this point.
It could be. I mean, I don't know, man. The way I look at it, though, is it's like if you really like your Genesis pandas, then I wouldn't part with them just for, the potential of the upgrade.
Well, so the thing is, the panda that's like my forever panda is my only non-Genesis. Everything else is Genesis, which gets you like the VIP pass to Pandemonium and stuff, which is why I collected them. Was if I was going to be able to bring other people VIP with me, but that fucking won't matter if I end up pulling a one of one, right? That's like 50 ETH right there. I could buy a fucking big ton of Genesis pandas.
That's fair enough. I don't know, man. Like it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So, the other big news from the past couple of days is obviously, the Frank and the DeGods action. And you missed this conversation last week, but we had Eddie stop in here for a little bit. He hopped up on stage and he really did drop some alpha for the group. And he shared why he was shorting the gods move. And we ended up having a conversation about that I swear it was like half the space, just kind of talking about his thesis for it, how he was able to do it. And, the mechanics for being able to short right now are still really primitive with NFTs, and, they're not very liquid, but it is possible. And I thought it was interesting the way he showed that, but he made a good point going into it. And I fully agreed with him. Majority of the time, especially in a bear market, when you set up expectations for yourself that are just exceptional, you have to be God tier, when you deliver. And so it doesn't mean, like, the way I look at it with everything that happened, I don't think that the update they did was necessarily bad, right? Like, I just think that it's one of those things, people have such high expectations for it that the majority of upside is built into the hype, right? So I don't think that, the floor price is necessarily a complete reaction to a failure from Frank. I just think it's one of those things where, honestly, I can't think of a single thing that they could have possibly done where people would have been like, oh, wow, damn, I need to buy more at this point. Like, it's that bullish that I have to ape in more. Right?
No,
Like,
see,
I can't
that's
think of
the
a thing.
thing. And to be 100% honest with you, every new, like, it's always short the news in NFTs. There is not any announcement that has pumped any project other than when Jack Butcher releases a new set. That is the only time any type of announcement brings volume positively. Otherwise, I mean, you look at Azuki's dump, even Pandas, right? They were sitting at 2.7 when PPDEX dropped, and that was a massive success, right? Yet they're still down to hovering just above 1 ETH right now. I mean, you got PA, apes. I mean, literally every single event in NFTs is a shortable event. Everything is propped up valuation wise on speculation. The worst thing, in my opinion, a founder can do is deliver something, because that's immediately, it puts a tangible value on what was previously semi intangible, right? So they, what if this, what if that, and then that's why people end up holding multiples, and floor prices propped up. But then as soon as something of value is delivered back, that immediately attaches a price to the NFT. So, and that kind of makes you understand why it's been delayed so long, right? It's because they knew, as soon as, no matter how good it was, I mean, the art could have came out on screen and painted itself on your wall, and the floor price still would have tanked.
Yeah, and,
So
the stress of that is insane. Dude, I actually feel really bad for Frank here, and there are going to be people that are like, "Oh, why would you sympathize with him? He's still printing so much, and this and that and the other." I think that what they did this past week was pretty bold, moving Utes back to ETH. I think that they didn't have to do that, but I do think it was the best thing for the collection in the long term, honestly. Right? Like, they handed back a bunch of money with that grant that they could have easily kept. So personally, though, I think that it does benefit the holders more from a perspective of having access to more liquidity. I think ETH is just a better chain to be traded on than Matic, at least right now. And then you look at the other side of it again. Like I just somebody brought or tweeted this out the other day, like the Dust token, for instance. I think Dust has a market cap of $40 million, which is pretty significant. But if Frank dropped a meme coin today that had no utility whatsoever, it would probably shoot to 100 million plus. People just care about the speculation, at least in
Exactly.
the middle of the bear market.
Yes, all value props are speculation. As soon as you, I'm pretty sure every founder knows this at this point, and if they don't, I probably would not be betting on them. But yeah, as soon as you release anything, it's going to tank your floor price. That's what everybody wants, right? Peak 2021, that was peak speculation, right? I mean, I just even remember like thinking about some of the shit I said in spaces back then, right? Everybody was like, "Oh, what if like your NFT can unlock your car for you and stuff," right? Like that was at the point people probably should have realized, yeah, we're it's probably the local top or the grand top for right now, anyways. But yeah, I mean, it's well known, and moving back to Ethereum. I mean, I don't know why they moved to Polygon, anyways. Um, that was pretty much the only thing you'd have done, and I think that is stake and unstake and move chains. BOA's made a funny tweet about that the other day. In like the 8 months they've been around, but it's almost like I don't know if there's a project that built their project on 8 different chains and you could freely move between them. That might be a good idea, but I don't know if anyone's done that yet. But no, yeah, I mean, I've always been kind of an ETH maxi, at least in terms of NFT sides. It doesn't help that 49 out of the 50 other Solana projects that I own have rugged me. There's only one in my wallet that is not gone to zero so far. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like, right, we've seen probably close to a 40% drawdown. I think they were hovering around 6, or at least got dumped to 6 yesterday. I haven't checked this morning. They were close to 10 pre announcement.
Well, it's just like what happened with Azuki, right? But the difference was Azuki made like $50 million in the process.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And I think I seen a tweet from Eddie too yesterday, and he like ran some soft numbers because I think they're doing some type of rewards portal or something, but the holders, so you have to pay to be able to upgrade your NFT and like change it to a woman or whatever. You got to pay like 300 dust, which is I think was like $600 something at that point. And then yeah, so I think his calculations were going to be between like 4 to 6 million spent from the holders to be able to like receive their own rewards.
Yeah, that is wild, man. I mean, I think that's one of the things that when you look at it, the real downside of potentially doing a token for your NFT project ecosystem in the first place, it's so tough to maintain the hype associated with the utility and the actual liquidity that it ends up sucking away if there is real utility associated with it, right? Because like, again, Dust is the perfect example right now. When you're seeing this meme coin on-chain revolution and then Dust isn't some type of trending token, why? Because it has fundamentals. Like, that's crazy, right? So maybe things will be a little bit different in the bull market again, and there will be enough demand for that, and you can really get a robust ecosystem really thriving around it. But at least right now, it just it's tough. I mean, realistically, that's one of the things looking at like LedgArt too, where it's like I've got no rush to release any type of collection, at least right now, for a little while, just because the market just doesn't make sense for it, right? Even if we had a multi-ETH floor or whatever it was, and you could potentially do that, the market just doesn't make sense for it. I do think though, I've said this the past couple days on different spaces. I really think we're at a point where the market's kind of we're right there at the valley, right? Where we are at the, the bottom time wise of this NFT capitulation, from the start to where we'll be back to where we were, probably time wise, we're right at the bottom. I really think from here, what that means is just a gradual, you know, recovery. And it's not going to be something that happens overnight, and it won't happen across all projects. But I really think the projects that you look for are the ones that still have social active leaders, right? Like, for instance, if Frank just walked away from this and said, okay, the floor price tanked, I'm done with this project, bye, and walked away, like, I wouldn't bet on the God's coming back. But if he sticks around through it, I really think Frank still delivers, and it's one of those things where he probably continues to deliver in the next bull market. So you just got to look and see, okay, who's active, who's actually doing it. I know it's a meme that people say who's active right now with NFTs, but there's really something to it. It's like, who is active right now? Because there are a lot of former blue chip collections that are completely dead.
Bro, yeah, I mean, there's fucking one point in time where Cool Cats and Doodles were trading at 20 ETH. I mean, come on. Um, but no, back to the stonks. I think the only thing you should entertain is you should definitely DM Jack Butcher. And that would be a pretty fucking sick collaboration with the stonks and the Opepe. That'd be the only thing I'm behind, rather than like being able to burn two to re-roll for like possibly you know a different trait. But other than that, yeah, I wouldn't fucking touch the stonks.
Yeah. No, man, the stonks are inevitable. I say the stonks are inevitable again just because of like what we talked through there, right? It's one of those things where if I was going to walk away from the project, would have done it a long time ago, right? Like, and realistically, when you look at where the floor price is and when you look at the potential demand for the future in this space, like I really think that it's one of those things. It's still a low barrier entry project for something that has that OG significance. I think that has unique art, and that really will. I like, it's my thing. I just the area where it is right now. It's like last summer, man, when we were meeting here, going through these spaces, right? We're in that trough where it's boring right now, but eventually it's going to hit a point where it's not boring, and it happens fast. So I
So,
think
do
it's just what's
you want
that?
to hear the conclusion I came to this past week with the stonks? And I didn't even realize that it was this simple. So, in my opinion, the stonks are definitely a bull market project, right? Definitely 1,000 IQ genius move to be accumulating in the bear. Because here's my thesis, right? Who wants to be staring at a picture of a chart during the bear market when they've been losing, the past year, right? No one wants to be constantly reminded of, oh yeah, look, that's the exact same chart that I lost half my portfolio on this year, right?
That
But
is so true.
once the bull market comes around, right, and then everybody and their mamas is making money, right, everyone's quitting their job, becoming the next trader. They're like, yeah, that chart is art. I made 50 grand off a chart that looked exactly like that one's mine. I'm telling I didn't even realize that it was this simple. I'm talking, there's probably gonna be over a 100%, no, more than 100, like 100x change in volume between bull market and bear market, just because nobody wants to be reminded how they've been losing money the past year. But once everybody starts making money again, oh yeah, it's fucking new Mona Lisa.
Dude, that's 200 IQ. I never even thought about that, but it's so true because I like when you survive through it all, then yeah, the charts become something where they are just this badge of honor, and there's something that you appreciate more, especially when things are trending that direction. But yeah, in the middle of a bear market, it I say this all the time when I'm on a stream, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm barely seeing any charts right now because people just aren't sharing many, right? Like, because price action has been so mundane. We've been stuck in such a low volatility range, at least on the crypto side of things. Equities have been a little bit different, but on the crypto side of things, really has been pretty dang boring. So yeah, I mean, heck, that even makes me more bullish again, considering how we've held up. And considering when you start talking about other fundamental factors like that, yeah, like there's going to be a point where both markets bottom. And again, like I actually like having having a project where it's something where it is low barrier to entry, where it's easy to coast through because you don't have the same type of thing where man, like again, I feel for the pressure and the stress of something like what Frank is going through. I know, hey, it's from good problems of being successful, and eventually, at one point, like I hope and expect to be dealing with some of that type of pressure, but also in a different way because the stonks are structured in a way to where it's not about utility, right? And I think that's one of the things that's really different about the stonks from some of these other projects is as far as getting them to trend and kind of the movement for it takes longer, right? It takes a little bit longer, but it's one of those things that I think as they continue to cement themselves and people buy art for art, you don't have an announcement one day where all of a sudden people are like, I'm gonna floor 500 pieces because I'm not content with the way that ended up, with how that art ended up looking, or I expected some other type of partnership or something else. It's about the art. And like, that's why I think from a long-term perspective, focusing on the art is really important. And, like,
So
because
here's the
outside of,
question I have for you. Do there's a fine line, but as a founder, do you think that whales should have any type of special treatment, over just a single NFT holder?
um, so I think that it depends on the structure of your project for sure. Like I definitely think that it's one of those things where if your project is structured to where you have some type of like tiered benefit system, then of course, right? Like the way I look at it is, I honestly, whether you have one stonk or hundreds, like I want to treat everybody the same. But at the same time, like, doesn't mean that I obviously don't recognize and respect like, people that are whales within the community. And, just I think it's one of those things where you see people and you see what they're doing and you really respect it. And I think just inherently you want to go out of your way. Like it just happens naturally going out of your way to try to, be there a little bit more for them. And I think that naturally happens along with the process. But I do think that in a utility based economy, there is an obligation to it. But outside of that, I mean, I would be remiss to say that, like, I am not going to, if somebody has a stonk and they talk to me, like, I'm not going to give them my full effort and attention on whatever they are discussing with me, right?
No, and absolutely, I agree with you there 100%, right? I mean, obviously, if someone is a part of your project in any fashion, you really wouldn't want to ignore them at all. But I was more in terms of talking about like special treatment, like claimable items or something that only whales can get, or yeah, like you're saying, a tiered reward system. I mean, I think there is an obligation and a smart business move to appease people who are holding a much larger portion of your project, right? Like it,
Yeah.
would it make sense to you know do something to intentionally piss these people off, or even unintentionally, right? I mean, that was the biggest deal with Azuki gods,
you
right?
know,
If they
what
pissed
we
a
need to
couple
do.
whales off and then, they tank the floor price, 40%, 50%, 60%.
We need to come up with some type of thing, like maybe some type of hoodie or something. Like that's not a bad idea. I kind of like that idea. Maybe some type of hoodie or something, like a Wonky Whale Club type of thing. I'm not
Nah,
sure.
yeah,
That would actually
I'm
be kind of
definitely
sick.
down. I think I mentioned something in the mods channel after, we had a bunch of new whales step in at the beginning of the year. I think it'd be cool to put together, whether it be claimable or discounted price or, whatnot. We can, that logistics to figure out. But yeah, putting together like a little merch package, right? Maybe, if it's not terribly expensive, right? Create like a stonks, like a travel duffel bag, and put like a hoodie and a shirt and like some other shit in there and have it claimable by whales or something like that. I always thought that'd be a great idea.
We'll see. I'll talk through Hondo through some ideas, but I think that like it's not a bad idea, man. Looking through and doing something like that, because if nothing else, I think there's something special, regardless of how you like, of just having access to an item that other people don't necessarily have access to. Like it's kind of just a flex walking around. I'm kind of just picturing. Um, I'm just picturing walking around one of the like Art Basel or something with a Wonky Whale hoodie. I'm not sure what it would look like or anything else, but or a hat or whatever it is, and just having access to that I think might be cool. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll hit the labs.
Could you imagine how many whales there would be if you made the swim trunks a whale only item?
Hey, I kid you not, for anybody in here, whether you own a stonk or not, because right now, like the store is completely unbarred as far as any type of special access to be able, for holder only. So the Wonky Stonks swim trunks are legit. They're high quality. And they look good too. Every time I wear them, I get people asking me about them and complimenting me on them. So if you don't own any stonk trunks, you need to take a look. So what else do we have to look forward to this next week, man? What all else is on the agenda as far as the NFT world and, just crypto in general?
I mean, as I said earlier, pretty much the only thing I'm looking forward to is the Panda Mint on Sol. I
Pink
would,
Pippin.
if I did have a no Pepin, yeah, I would definitely be opting in. You're probably looking at minimum. I'm thinking 1-for-1, right? Price of like a floor Opepang and the floor Penguin, because it's going to be way more exclusive, right? I think you're looking at 1,000, or maybe no, actually, you're looking at 100 pieces. Yeah, you're looking at 100 pieces of the penguin, and with how crazy the penguin community is, you're probably looking at a 3 floor minimum for the larger edition. So if you do have an OPEPin, it would be a profitable move to opt into that if you end up getting it. If you didn't want one as your PFP, I would definitely, if mine didn't get swept up 2 minutes after the announcement, didn't give me any time to delist. But yeah, I mean, Pons had his coffee thing. It was kind of a shock to everybody. Crazy. I mean, definitely support his efforts in doing that. Will it be tough? Yeah. But
Dude,
it's going
that
to.
is ambitious as hell. I respect him for going for it, but man, he's like talking about basically starting up a Starbucks Dunkin' Donuts type of franchise with having the NFTs kind of be like it's like the old taxi permits that you would have to be able to operate. I forget what it was, the license or the tokens that you would have to buy in NYC to be able to be a taxi driver. That's basically
Yeah.
what he's saying with these franchises, is that the utility when is a potential franchise token which if you're looking at it from that perspective, I say it's hell ambitious, which, he has an incredible partnership in place. I mean, he got, the government official account from El Salvador to be able to tweet out the partnership. That's insane. But it is a long-term play because that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. El Salvador is kind of like Kevin Hart in that sense, right? He'll do anything for money. But no, I don't want to shortcome anything that Ponce has been working on. That that is a crazy move. Uh, will I be actively participating and supporting it? Probably not. I haven't dumped my utility wins yet. Well, I mean, I am in the money on them. I did sell two before the pre-reveal or whatever. There's like 5 different
You're
reveals for
telling
that
me you are
project.
not trying to spend, $500,000 to $1 million to open up a coffee shop?
Let me check my other genes first, and then I'll get
Bro,
back to
that's the
you.
reason why I say it's really ambitious, because you're looking at it, that's the thing that just I'm trying to, which I'm sure he's got some type of plan to be able to see it through on the real world side of things. Because if you're going from the crypto Twitter side of things, you're not going to make it happen. You have to start if that is your mission statement, you have to start with the real world and work your way in, right? Like you have to start going to people, going to real investors across the board in the real world. Because otherwise, like, dude, these are people that are buying a, a 50 to $100 NFT. How do you expect them to have capital, like, talking about up to $1 million to be able to invest and start a franchise? So that's the tough thing. But I mean, I do respect it. Pons is a hustler. Like I'm sure he's got an idea for how he's going to be able to ship and deliver that. But, again, it's just one of those things. Maybe more people need to have a longer term mindset like he does. But I think that's what he says. He's saying that he's got a long term mindset about this.
Yeah, and that's again, betting on the founders, right? It's the reason I max minted utility win from the get. I've never lost money on a single thing of pawns that I've touched, right? From frogs to the Acorn Project, which I guess the original team behind that ended up deciding to rug pawns, I think. Then they come to utility win, which I'm in the green as well. So I definitely do support pawns. He's you know very forward thinking. It is highly ambitious. Will it be if it works, it'll probably be very successful for the NFTs, right? That would be a great long term hold. Um, am I going to actively participate in the coffee startup? Probably not. I think I have one with like a vending machine or something. I've never seen a single person buy a bag of coffee from a vending machine. I don't know, just not my thing. I have other things to do, but definitely fully supportive on it.
Yeah, no, I'm rooting the best for it. I really respect the move, and I'm excited to see it play out, man. It's something different, something interesting to pay attention to. Outside of that, like, I really think the only other thing that I can think of throughout this week, like, I don't know, the Friend Tech thing that came out yesterday is interesting. Realistically, it goes to zero at the end of the day. Like, it's fun, but the only thing that potentially doesn't lead it toward that is the whole airdrop incentive. And I think that's what really keeps me interested. I feel like I have not taken the opportunity early on for a lot of these different things that have popped up to farm airdrops. So that was the main reason why I was like, you know what? I haven't bridged the base yet, which has been on my checklist of things to do. Right. So I was like, I'll knock that out from the experiential side of things, which it was actually super simple to bridge to base. I hear bridging back is where it gets a little bit more difficult, but bridging to base, super simple.
It's like spending money on your debit card, right? Easy to disappear or getting a refund on anything, right? They'll take your money in 10 seconds, but refund will take potentially 30 days to process before it hits your account.
Yeah, I mean, I've just heard that it's bad. I haven't heard how bad it is to bridge back from base, but
Well, at first I heard you couldn't. So potentially being able to, I think, is multiples better than from what I've originally heard. From when the bald token dropped, I heard that everybody's making all this money, but they can't actually get it. So yeah, I don't know.
oh, that's funny.
I've not bridged the base yet either. So honestly,
Well,
actually do that right now.
well,
Anybody got a friend tech code?
here's the deal. I don't right now. I'm sure that you can easily find one, or I'll tweet something out for you here a little bit later. But it's like $20, and the only reason why it takes $20, I thought about this later. There are a couple things about it. So, and here's something I realized about kind of the structure for the way it works. So, if you deposit just $20, then what it does is it creates a pool for your contract, for your token. So you are basically saying that the value of your pool is worth $20. So now if somebody buys into your pool and they buy a share, I think it's like 13 cents for the first share to buy. Or it's 50 cents maybe for the first share, whatever it is, somewhere along those lines for how they do the divisibility and the math. But if you deposit a higher amount to begin with, then your pool value also begins higher and your token value begins higher, which, you know, could be good, could be bad. It's one of those things where I really think that you expect to lose a lot of what you put in regardless. But it's just like a shitcoin casino, is the way I see it. I see it as people right now that are playing a casino that are speculating on it. It's like I've had people that have bought my token, and there's a chat room, right? I can see all of their chats. They can't see each other's. They can only see mine. I just realized that. So I've had a few people like ask me if I'll follow them. I'm like, sure, dude. I mean, if you spend zero point 0.4 ETH on something that is a broken app that's less than 24 hours old and you hold on to that, then I guess like I'll give you. I mean, it's dumb, man. Because I feel bad. I'm like, I just feel bad for them because like that is not inevitable. The stocks are inevitable. That is, pure speculation. But from the flip side, it's one of those things you don't know how far something's going to trend because when you have the promise of an airdrop, whenever they release anything about airdrop incentives, I think if the gaming of that airdrop is done correctly, that it could really put some upward pressure on it, for a little while. So that's the flip side of it. But either way, it's been fun just kind of experimenting with a new project, new field, something on a different chain I had to bridge to, so it's been a fun little experiment.
Yeah, I'm bridging to base right now. I haven't done that yet. Damn.
Personally, I think that another thing that would benefit the project greatly is if the chat rooms were open for everybody to see everybody's chat. Like, that's a lot better than just seeing whoever is the host of the chat, right? Because if you can just see the founders, then it just doesn't, like, the way I look at it is for any app to be successful, you have to look at ways to be able to generate interest and buzz and get people to stick there. So if you generate a huge chat room and it has just constant, like, you have to have some type of constant buzz to be able to keep people engaged. Other than that, it's like, well, the price is your buzz, and that only, we've seen it like doesn't always last for very long.
That honestly gave me a pretty good idea for kind of like a Web3. Yeah, if there was a Web3 social media, like imagine if you could be able to pay people to essentially put a comment under their post if it's going to get high engagement, right? But you can review what that post under yours would be. That'd be a pretty cool revenue source, or maybe not. I don't know. Might not work.
Might not, man, but it might. So, but I will say, as far as base is concerned, it is pretty crazy to just see the explosion in transactions after this app was put up there. There was some chart that I looked at. It basically just went exponential as soon as this thing was dropped. So yeah, that's the only other thing that I can think of that's really happening right now that might be worth keeping an eye on. I honestly think for anybody that's in here, it might be worth the $20. You know, I'm not saying to go in there and ape and gamble on a bunch of these different accounts. Who knows? Maybe there will be some upside in it, whatever. But realistically, you know, I think if you just want to play it safe, learn a little bit, putting $20 on there and just going to create an account just in case there's some type of airdrop incentive for being able to own and create it, like, probably not a terrible idea.
When I complete my account, I need everybody in the space to buy a Rooster share. Por favor.
All right. You heard it. Look for the Rooster shares. Rooster, man, I appreciate you coming up and co-hosting as always. It's been fun. We'll be back here same time, same place this next week. And, you know, like always, Wonky Stonks are inevitable.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Kaleo. Hey, shoot me more information on when you get it, when you're coming up here and stuff.
On what? Oh, yeah. To the Denver thing. I definitely will.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Adios.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Too. Bye.